Hello, welcome to a new edition of our show, Money Means Business. And as we always say, business means money, stability, and business means a lot of money. And under the repercussions, actually, of the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot has been changing, socially speaking, definitely economically speaking, and a lot more in ethics, in social habits, in economic performance. Some countries are heavily affected by the pandemic. Others are really struggling in order to get out of it in good shape. Anyway, Egypt has been really working very much and a lot in order to get out of it nearly unscathed. Of course, it's affected the economy, but the national financial institutions, the international financial institutions are just saying that Egypt is faring well, and with their witnessing the development in Egypt, things are just getting better, and we're getting out of it really good, inshallah. We're going to be talking about different subjects, definitely, as it is a new republic, different from the last one, actually, that we witnessed after it just, fell down to the ground. But then again, resurrection again, and a lot of work, and everything is new and renewing. Egypt recapturing the essence of the great ancient Egyptians, as we're all Egyptians, and going back, building our Egypt in a suitable manner that is worthy of our civilization. We do have with us our guest. We're going to be talking to you about the different developments taking place in Egypt. We have with us Dr. Said Al-Khouli, Professor of Management at Ain Shams University, and also the Chairman of the Promotion Committee of the High Supreme Council of Universities. Welcome, sir, with us.
Nice seeing you.
Well, we do have a lot to talk about, but we are going for a short break, after which we'll be coming back. Stay tuned to us. Don't go away.
The Egyptian petroleum and mineral wealth sector is considered the owner of the full market during the era of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi over the past 7 years, due to the distinguished business results achieved by this sector. Where this sector achieved a large number of achievements, the numbers production, research and exploration, the signing of agreements, the entry of international companies, and the volume of investments were the best evidence of these achievements. It's worth noting that from July 2014 to June 2020, 84 new petroleum agreements were signed with international companies to search for oil and gas, with investments estimated at about $14.8 billion. These agreements are considered to have a positive impact on research and exploration activities and on supporting oil and gas reserves, in addition to restoring confidence in the petroleum sector after the signing of agreements was suspended from 2010 until October 2013. Self-sufficiency in the locally produced natural gas was achieved by the end of September 2018, thanks to the gradual increase in production of gas as a result of the completion of the development of many projects, which led to the suspension of importing liquefied natural gas for the first time in more than 3 years, thus rationalizing the use of foreign exchange directed at import. The petrochemical industry has also witnessed remarkable progress, as the 2 largest projects in the petrochemical industry were operated with a total investment of about $4 billion. The President inaugurated them during 2016. These are the projects in Damietta and Alexandria, which represent an addition to the national economy. It should be noted that 4 new industrial petrochemical projects are currently being implemented with a total investment of about $1.7 billion. Among the achievements of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the field of petroleum and mineral wealth is the endeavor to transform into a regional center for trade and circulation of gas and oil trade, which benefits them and the countries of the region through integration and strengthening cooperation between countries, thus contributing to achieving economic benefits and investing energy as means of peace in the region.
Welcome back again. Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli stated that the economic zone in the Suez Canal is considered one of the mega national projects that come among the top priorities of the state and is followed up closely by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The Prime Minister's remarks came during his extensive inspection tour to the economic zone in the Suez Canal. Madbouli was accompanied by a number of ministers and state officials. During the inspection, the Premier laid the cornerstone to the first industrial petrochemicals complex in the economic zone to meet the needs of local markets. Minister of Petroleum Tariq Al-Mullah said the project provides about 15,000 job opportunities to Egyptian youth. The project is one of the state's strategic bases to implement the new developmental projects. We have with us Dr. Gamal Qalyoubi. Hello, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, Dr. Gamal, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you. Just go ahead.
Yes, sir. Well, how do you see the significance of such a zone, economic zone in the Suez Canal, and what does it provide for the future? What basis does it lay for the future, and what sectors is it going to be servicing?
You know the story well, how we start the challenge of improving and develop the area of Suez Canal. You know, it's a part of our wealthy since long white time, and it's considered by politics leaders that we need to improve and develop just a commercial ports and a commercial canal, consider 11% of the total commerciality worldwide, in a way that's to reflect in a value add. And that's such a value add, consider that we have many of things to be improve the time of passing all the shipments, and consider the heavy shipments and the big ship, which consider that need a water depth higher than what we have. We consider in the past 24 feet is the water depth in the main path in the canal. We have improved and developed that one by opening the second extension of the second path of the Suez Canal to be a water depth 66 feet. So we improved the depth to be higher to accommodate more heavy shipments, allowed to go for the way of the advances considered in the commercial marketing, that's using the heavy shipments with higher loads, 250,000 tons. Such consideration was in the past stop a lot of shipment to pass across the channel and go around route, African route, rather than to go in the Suez Channel. The second thing is considered that we need to use the ultimate benefits using extra 6 ports. We talk about South Port Said, North Port Said. We consider Damietta Port. We consider also Abu Qir and Ain Sokhna as additional to Suez ports. That's varieties between the channel up to the Red Sea allow to us to use the benefit of transition zone from the Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea as a logistic part or a fuel supplying, or I consider of open commercial or open marketing for loading or transport or reloading again as a storage area. Such way of economic or Suez Canal economics area, which gets under the authorities under the umbrella of a manager, and a lot of branches try to support and enhance such developments, which is needed by the international market as soon as possible.
So what are other achievements and projects that are done that are changing, let's say, the sector, the petroleum sector positively?
I think in the petroleum section, it's the complete energy section. Egypt had been showing a very advanced improvement.
Yeah. Dr. Gamal Qalyoubi, thank you very much for being with us. And we're back again to Money is Business with our guest, Dr. Said Al-Khouli, Professor of Management and the Chairman of the Promotion Committee in the Supreme Council of Universities. Welcome again, sir, with us.
Thank you.
Well, a lot has been happening, but like talking about this economic project, and well, as we are talking about laying the foundation, well, are being laid in different directions for the new republic, as you called it, and it's really a new Egypt.
For the last 7 years, and that is a strategy. We focus on the government and the president focus on is to move Egypt from one place to another place, and that's what I call it as a new republic. It's a new Egypt. When he talked about the fourth industrial revolution, he mean it and started already with the opening. Dr. Mustafa Mabouli opened the first site in the economical sector in Suez Canal, where it doesn't happen today.
Yeah,
it happened 3-4 years ago,
yeah.
And it's a plan, it's a strategy, where they attracted a lot of mega project,
Yeah.
heavy industrial project. Now we are not just assembly a product, no, we are manufacturing heavy machinery in this area, where it will enable us, Egypt, within 2 to 4 years, it will be the manufacturing hub for the Middle East and Africa. And of course, with this direction, with adapting new technology, with fourth industrial revolution, it will help us to lower down unemployment. The employment rate, it will go up as an advantage for any foreign investor comes to Egypt, or foreign country like China, like Russia, where they have a huge investment in that area. Basically, the low labor cost we have. We are the lowest in terms of wages.
Yeah.
We are the lowest labor cost in the region. And that it attract a lot of foreign direct investment to this area. I believe within 2 years you will see a lot of development in this area, a lot of manufacturing product and service in this area, and it will move Egypt from one place to another place in the world economic map. And that is, it's a planning, it's a strategy, and it is the goodwill of the president and the government, where they're working on that forum, and that is included in Egypt Vision 2030.
Yeah. So as you were talking, I'm just what comes to the mind. Who said that Egypt isn't labeled Egypt as an agricultural country? As if it has nothing to do with industrialism or agriculture. That's very important, of course, to provide the industry with the material and everything. But then now we're just doing this. We're just going into that sphere, industry, and bit by bit, and we're just going into terrains we were not going into before. And of course, that's very important, talking about that project and other projects, laying the groundwork for other mega projects and investments. That too will be attracting investors and opening the door to our labor force to find different jobs.
Absolutely. Egypt policy, and when I talk about the top policy of
Yeah.
Egypt, it's really moving in all different directions. We are good in agriculture. Remember, 1.5 million acre they started a couple of years ago. It shows the result right now. So there is nothing wrong to be an agriculture nation. But beside that, we are going in another direction,
Yeah.
such as industry, and where all industry, it was outdated in terms of technology, what you have during the 50 and 60 and
Yeah.
so on. And there is no maintenance, there is no upgrading our technology and so on. And that is why President Sisi talked about the fourth revolution, where to be able to attract new technology to our industry, not conventional industry, by high-tech industry. Remember, digitalization is very important, where we start to integrate communication sector with all different industrial sector, and it will help us in the new era, I'm talking about years to come, 2, 3 years,
Definitely.
you will see the result. Remember, and we said that in this program too many times,
Yes.
there is a difference between say and do.
Yes.
And this government, the president is a doer. Doer, it means now we are talking about the infrastructure. Now every Egyptian person can see it in reality, with all different roads, with bridges, tunnel, and so on. That is a development with the new project you have in the Suez Canal. That is a moving into another direction. Remember, industry need logistic, and logistic, it means you have to have infrastructure in terms of roads, in terms of bridges, in terms of tunnels, in terms of energy, and all of this attract foreign direct investment. And as you mentioned in the beginning, our international agency worldwide shows Egypt, thanks God, in the positive side up to this point of time.
Yeah.
And our gross development product start to increase, and I believe within the next 2 years it will double in the next 2 years. And that is because we are really thinking out of the box. We're moving from traditional ways of producing our product and service to more advanced technology, adapting. We're building strategic alliance with mega project from worldwide. So we are not depending on one country and leaving the rest of the world. We are really joint venture with too many different country worldwide, industrial country like, for example, China, Russia, United States, European country, and so on. So we are moving in different direction.
Yeah.
In order to really be in the future, to be Egypt, it will be, and I'm assuring that it will be the industrial hub and the agriculture hub, regardless from all negative campaign we're facing, but we are moving in the right direction.
Definitely. Now, doing all that in different directions, and of course, if we were not under the effects and the repercussions of caused by the COVID-19, things would have been different. Going further in, well, just more than that. Doing that, and we are just also, well, part of being part of Africa, we're closest to Africa, and with all that, we're just going with full force into Africa, taking again our role that we had before, but now things are different, and we're back again. Well, other people try to take our place, but then at the end, we are Africans, and we know what the best for Africa and what Africa needs from us as Africans.
Remember, Egypt it really have a difference from all different culture.
Yeah.
We are in Egypt, we are African. We are in Africa, so we are African. We are Arabs who are close to the Middle Eastern country, Gulf states, and other European.
And we're part Asians too, going into the Suez Canal.
Egypt is part of Africa,
Yeah.
and we have Sinai is part of Asia.
Yes.
So Egypt really, it have a significant, and that is advantage. We should really take a lot of advantage of it. We are close to Europe, we are close to Arab country, we are in Africa. And in Africa, they need our help in terms of energy. We can help them on that. And Egypt considered to be the big sister for the whole different country, whether in Africa or an Arab country. Remember what happened a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
When our brother and sister in Palestine, they needed our help. The first country in the whole world with their huge budget, with huge money, with a lot of wealth, the first country to go to Gaza, it was Egypt. That is Egypt. Egypt defended Palestinian for tens of years, for 50 years ago, from 48 until this point of time. The first mission it goes to Gaza, it was Egypt, and the President Sisi devote $500 million in order to restructure and infrastructure of Gaza again. And remember the line of all different trucks going to Africa from Egypt with the Egyptian flag, that is Egypt. Egypt is history, Egypt is culture, Egypt is not developed in a couple of hundred of years and so on, like many other states. Egypt is really the big brother, big sister for all different nations.
Yeah.
And that is Egypt. And we shouldn't forget that for all our kids. We have to mention that all the time.
Definitely.
Egypt, it has a place in the world wide, and the Egyptian president have a word right now when we say we stop the invasion of Israeli people to Gaza, stopped. And of course, it will go for other direction in the next few months and so
And
on.
as we see, of course, the Egyptian equipment is going to Gaza in order to rebuild again, restructure the damages that were inflicted on the Gazans, the Palestinians there, and rebuilding and restructuring again Gaza.
And we open our hospitals.
Yes,
We open
definitely.
our borders. And it's not only in a medical assistance,
Yeah.
but in a financial assistance. By rebuilding Gaza, it needs a huge money. We have the workforce, we have the machinery in order to do that, and we'll do it. And we are not waiting for any other.
return,
And the
actually,
people who
yeah,
talk
yeah.
in the media and so on and so forth, they shut down because the first country in the whole world to lend a hand to our brother and sister in Palestine, it's Egypt. And that is Egypt.
Exactly. Serious work and a lot of help to our brethren. And we're going for a short break, after we should be coming back. Stay tuned to us. Don't go away. Are you back again with our guest, Dr. Saeed Al-Khouri, and discussing a lot, the different and the change that is going on in Egypt, positive change, a quantum leap that we are just talking about. And despite the fact that we are, well, like as everybody in the world is suffering from the COVID-19, but it depends, on how, like we were looking on Facebook, and last year, like same time last year, and a couple of months before, when we discovered with the COVID-19, all that, people did not realize that before March last year. But then, we just went to getting our kids who are abroad, people who are stuck abroad, who couldn't come back to Egypt, sending them planes, sending them boats in order to get them back home safely, and just talking about definitely the services given to them, And right now, of course, the services are given to give actually the inoculation against the COVID-19, and a lot, of course, that is affecting the businesses, the country. But despite all that, we're faring well, and we're just working really very hard. The government's working very hard in order to pass all that safely.
Absolutely. With COVID-19 pandemic, it has a negative effect
Definitely.
all over the world. And in Australia, for example, still suffering from it, and in India and Brazil still suffering at this
And there's again, it's
point of time.
mutating. Like Vietnam, they do have another mutation. The thing is, one keeps thinking, are we going to be staying in that, like every time they just tell you another, like some kind of a plane comes with some guy that one of the Indian guys came, and he had a certificate saying that he's free of COVID-19. But then, at the airport here, they detected, when they just examined everybody, that, he is affected.
He carries a virus,
Definitely,
yeah.
so they send him back. And on, this is, really a nightmare.
Given our limited resources, let me thank Dr. Hala Zayed for the excellent role he played, the health ministry and all the white soldiers we have, our doctor, nurses, and all these people who are really started vaccinating our people. And I remember when I took my vaccination, it took me like 5 minutes to get in the row and get it done. And if you can see other country all over the world, you wait for 5 hours, 6 hours in order to be vaccinated. With our limited resources, we start to vaccinate, and I really encourage everybody to be vaccinated, because the more people get vaccination, the less likely will spread the virus. And that is very important. With the majority of people get vaccinated, I believe the curve will be flattened and start to go down. And within the next few weeks or few months, we'll be able to vaccinate more people. And that is very important for economical development. You need healthy people in order to produce. You need healthy people in order to revive your economical sector. And given most of the countries, they shut down their economical sector, we went to parallel between taking care of our health and taking care of our economical sector, and everything, the reserve in terms of food and or agricultural product, we have inventory. It will be good enough for the next 6 months and more than that. So we are in a good shape. We are not like European nation or American nation where the supermarket was empty, if you recall, last year and so on.
Yes, and there was a rush, and elders, they could not find anything to eat because people were just stacking food in their homes, scared of not finding anything. It was really very bad times in the West, actually.
And it didn't happen in Egypt.
Yes,
and that is, again, Egypt. We are really blessed by God to be able to survive this pandemic, and will survive, and will go in the right direction after that.
Definitely. Well, we talked about the different, according to that, we are just working, faring well in the medical sector, of course, and in those hard times, actually, providing people food is there, everything is there. And now, the inoculation vaccines are there, and it needs more, people to be aware, not to be scared of taking the vaccines, because lots of rumors and talks about vaccines, and they can kill, like you can just, from the West, like you hear that someone, a programmer, or someone who's presenting programs actually died after taking the inoculation, and so on and so forth. So lots of things. Some people are afraid of that, but many people started right now going and taking. Everything is put right in its place and arranged correctly, that you don't have to mingle with other people, a lot of people, and you go there and you don't take time in order to take your own vaccine. This is one thing. All that, only in the medical sector, in the other different sectors, economically speaking, medically speaking, everything is working at the same time in order to, just rise and develop the country on all spheres and segments and sectors. Also, digitalization is part of it. It's
Absolutely.
very important, of course, hand in hand with the changes in the world, with the quantum leaps, that are just, taking place, in all spheres there. We are also working very hard on that.
I believe with the fourth industrial revolution, which we're taking in that direction, it comes with that digitalization. Digitalization, it means simply whether you have pandemic or you have a war crisis or whatever, digitalization is a solution for the new republic. Digitalization, for example, the new capital of Egypt, they started the whole infrastructure with digitalization. Digitalization was all different new university, which we have one open today, the Ministry of Higher Education opened one in Ismailia, which is a public university, Bursaid University, and it's fully digitalized. Digitalization simply means you can, with the result of COVID-19, we started working from home, and without this digitalization, we would not be able to get our job done. So the digitalization, I believe we have a lot of challenge, but it will be resolved. The digitalization, it has to be for all Egypt. But remember, there is a rural area, there is a village, and so on, when they don't have internet connection and so on. And the Ministry of Communication working on that to expand the network, to expand the platform in order to have the full benefit from digitalization. So digitalization, it goes for education, it goes for healthcare, it goes for agriculture, it goes for industry, it goes for tourism industry. With digitalization is the new trend, and we should really invest and work hard in order to digitalize all Egypt, inshallah, in the future.
Definitely. That's very important step, of course, and all the work taking place, especially the government also, now, those people who are going to be, all the institutions that are going to be moving to the new capital, which is like a smart city that, is as a model, after which other cities are just, following suit. Well, they are just doing that, and this, I think, somehow it will affect corruption. I mean, positively, corruption will just, will have to go down, while digitalization is being, going very fast in all spheres of life and all institutions.
Remember, digitalization, it means a fully automation for the entire process. So the corruption or bribe goes from people interaction. With technological interaction, with digitalization, it limits the corruption, it eliminates, and if you have all different processes digitalized, you will eliminate corruption, you will eliminate bribe from the system, and it will increase the development and the growth, the income of our agency and all different government branches. And that is in transportation, digitalization, remember, for all public sector, for example, train and all this, it can be digitalized. So we don't have to depend on human error. It shows a lot of accident and so on. Digitalization, eliminate that, and you will have zero accident in the future, and zero corruption in the future, zero bribe in the future. But there is a challenge. We need to build a platform. We need to have infrastructure all over Egypt in order to have fully digitalize the whole nation. It takes time, but we are moving in the right direction. But it needs a lot of work from the communication sector, the Minister of Communication. We have to really heavily invest on that to expand our communication sector and networking and so on.
Well, that makes us, thinking like it's going everywhere in Egypt, and soon, it is taking time, but with hard work, it doesn't take time, as people expect, like in other spheres, lots of projects and are taking place, and development is taking place faster than anybody expected, actually. We still have, older communities actually that are, ignorant. They cannot write, or from the older generations. How can they just deal with all that in the countryside, and
Remember when we talked about office automation, for example,
Yeah.
about 40 years ago, moving from typewriter to computer.
Yeah,
it
that was,
it was a big resistance
Yeah.
to that, and it will not work, and so on. So people learn, people educate themselves. People, they have their grandchildren, they can help them.
Yeah.
Their children, they can help them. For example, my sons, which is in 5th grade and 8th grade, they know more than me about the new
they're
technology.
quicker to learn, actually.
Absolutely.
They just teach
So
us.
it is
Yeah.
a trend. It's a worldwide trend.
Yeah.
And whether you like it or not, whether you accept it or not, that is the trend. That's the global trend.
Yeah.
And we have
And
to
we
go
have to be
with that.
incorporated in.
Absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. For people who are really putting obstacle for digitalization, we should stop the negative talk, and we should really work hard in investing heavily in communication sector, in digitalization,
Yeah.
because that is the norm of the new era. And if we didn't have, remember, you mentioned very important issue is the time. What happened in Egypt in the last 6 years,
Yeah.
it didn't happen for the last 40, 50
Actually,
years.
miracle.
And that is a leadership. That is a leadership.
Exactly.
Leadership, it means simply do, and we see it in reality. Leadership, it simply means we have to have a vision, we look for the future in order to follow the worldwide trend. And that is very important, leadership.
Definitely, definitely. Nowadays our kids are going through exams. Some finished, some others, are just doing their exams. Some, we hear a lot actually about some, finished, but still, they're being examined, like on the internet. Again, digitalization and things, we were talking about last year, we had to implement, and those, who criticized that had to go along with it, since, the COVID-19 came, and it was, all schools, stopped, so it couldn't, universities, so it couldn't have gone like this. It became, studying from home via the internet.
What other means we can have if we don't have online learning, which
Yeah.
we call it as hybrid, where we have in class a week and another week in online. That's what we call it hybrid, face-to-face interaction in a very limited number of students in the classroom, and the rest, half of the other classroom, it will go online. And that is a good strategy for keeping our kids, whether we talk about before college education or even college education, university education. Safety is very important for the decision maker, for the safety of our kids. Talking about the exam, we started the exams in the university last week, and it's moving. We're using all different precaution measure. Social distance is applied in all our exam. Wearing mask and taking temperature for all students going to the university, it has taken care of in order to keep our environment 100% safe. And if a student, God forbid, have the virus or carry the virus and so on,
Yeah.
they can take the exam in a later stage with the same grade, no deduction, and so on. And that is the strategy of whether we're talking about higher education or other public education. Safety is first. The health of our kids is very important. And all of us, we stand in order to get things moving. Otherwise, if we don't have online education, if we don't have that, and that is part of digitalization, and it shows in the crisis, our educational process, it is not a fully implemented, but in a way or another, we really covered 80–90% of our curriculum. And of course, we'll revise that next year or next semester. So we are moving in the right
The
direction.
right direction. Yeah. Well, before we end, we did have, a long time actually in the American university and other universities, American education. There is a take-home exam. We did not know that in Egypt. Now, it's something is closer to take-home exam. You're just, taking, your studies home, and you're presenting whatever your work to the professor, or how you do it, online. But then you do that home. So it's something like a take-home exam. With a difference.
Online exam is different than
Yeah.
take-home exam, because take-home exam is very tough, by the way, I'm used because I got my education in the States, and when we have, the professor says we have take-home exam, you tell him, no, we need it in class, so it's doable, because he give you a problem when you cannot solve it. You have to think a week or a month in order to
work really hard on it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy,
No.
it's not like a regular exam
Yes,
and you take it
exactly.
and do it home. No, it's a mental thinking, and we really we are not trained for doing a take-home exam. In order to have a take-home exam, you must have the techniques. You don't have a case study in order to let the student really think in days, in a weeks, in order to solve the problem. But we implemented in our university here in Egypt, where we can have open book exam and so on.
Yeah.
So we are open for all different options.
Definitely. Well, now it's a necessity. Well, we have less than 2 minutes. How do you see the future? 1 minute. The director is crying now. 1 minute. So.
I believe we are moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
We have a leadership with a will, and we can see all different things happening. Life is tangible, where people can see it, and we will see more and more and more development in a very near future. And all different crises we have a president. He is able to solve this crisis, and I'm sure he will solve the Ethiopian High Dam crisis. He will solve it at the right time, and we have a president where when you talk, the whole world listen to him. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you very much. Our director was, screaming right now, Kamel Ali, is just, telling us it's over now. Thank you very much for being with us.
You're very welcome.
And it's always a pleasure having you. And we'd like to thank our viewers for being there. We'll see you again next week. As for now, on behalf of Kamel Ali, our director, and our cameraman, and all the staff, and myself, Nermeen Nazim, we wish you all the best. ادخلوا مصر إن شاء الله آمنين. Enter Egypt, God willing, safe. And Mubarak, Sha'bi Misr from the Holy Bible. Blessed be Egypt, my people. I'm Nermeen Nazim signing off. Goodbye for now.